The following feature presentation is part of the Skywalking Network.
This is what you can look forward to on this marvelous episode 441 of Skywalking Through Neverland.
Skrull, do you want to be a Skrull? I was like, yeah, I want to be a Skrull.
Well, if you want to do it right, you have to go back to 1986's Howard the Duck.
If ever I feel that, I just listen to the soundtrack to Rogers the Musical. That musical brings me back to the simpler MCU times.
Kamala Khan she's the Grogu of the MCU now. She's bringing everything together.
And also did the X-Men First Class as well. So I don't know if that really counts as that was like.
It does now.
Are you ready?
Welcome to Neverland.
Here we go.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land.
When I first made Star Wars, everybody in Hollywood said, well, this is a movie Disney should have made.
You're more than just fans. You're family.
Best day ever!
Secrets love. It's about family, and that's what's so powerful about it.
Hey.
You use a bird to write with. It's called tweeting.
When we visit the world of Disney, we never grow old. It's a Peter Pan, Never Land that keeps us young in heart.
This is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you are skywalking through Neverland. I have a good feeling about this.
Hey, Skywalkers! Are you ready to get higher, further, faster?
Together?
We hope you are, because we're going to bring you there. But until then, we want to welcome you back to Skywalking Through Neverland. I am Richard Woloski, but now everyone please say hello to my sweetie wife Sarah, the Miss Marvel to my Vision.
I love it. And not to say that those two superheroes are together, but they're friends. Mm-hmm. I guess, right? I'm sure Ms. Marvel's she's got the dossier on all the superheroes,
right? And
she can look up Vision.
I'm sure we'll see a crossover at some point, maybe in the 66 MCU film.
Yeah, right?
Or in a TV show, or in a comic, or in a video game.
I can't wait. Ms. Marvel in anything. That's all I have to say. All right, Skywalkers. Well, we are your enthusiastic podcast destination for the many decades of your Star Wars, Disney, pop culture, and Marvel fandom. So imagine a big Wookiee hug from us and a little sprinkle of pixie dust for our family of Skywalkers. Now, we are recording this live right now on the Skywalking Through Neverland YouTube channel, and if you haven't already, please subscribe for those notifications, and subscribing to the channel really helps us, and we thank you so much, Skywalkers.
Yeah, once again, we're on the cusp of hitting that 10,000 mark.
Yeah.
Come on,
so the
Skywalkers.
nearly 9,000 of you who have subscribed, thank you.
Yes, please get us there. We're hoping by the end of the year.
Yes.
We need another Katie Sackhoff to make that happen.
Yeah, right. All right, well, in this episode, we review and break down the 33rd film of the MCU, The Marvels. Can you tell we're excited? And we bring a friend on the show, Paul Warren, who played a shape-shifting Skrull in the film, and he'll also tell us about his time working on ANDOR as Quadpaw.
So many great stories. Mm-hmm. And his time working on Harry Potter as Harry's photo double.
That's right.
Yeah, I won't go too much into that. So many fun stories to come.
Yeah.
But first, we're going to tell you that we are being sponsored by Small World Vacations. And they are a diamond-level Disney vacation planner travel agency and can help you book your trip to a Disney park around the world. And best of all, their service is free. Yes, it is free of charge. So head over there to smallworldvacations.com for a no-obligation price quote and tell them Skywalking Through Neverland sent you. Now, we are recording this from Long Beach, California on November the 14th, 2023.
All right, Richard, what happened today in Star Wars history?
Well, we gotta wish a happy 78th birthday to our friend Paul Hirsch, who was born on this day, November 14th, 1945. And Paul Hirsch, he was on episode 264 of Skywalking Through Neverland, and he shared so many great stories as an editor on Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back. And for Star Wars, he won an Academy Award. Now, one fun story, I love this story, I'd never heard it before, was that when they were shooting Empire, he was sitting around waiting for footage to come in to edit, and then Gary Kurtz asked him to, can you edit an Empire Strikes Back trailer? We need a trailer. Can you edit? Well, I got nothing to do, so yeah. And he was going to go to Mark Hamill to narrate, and this was like the time when Mark Hamill's first son Nathan was being born.
Oh my!
And he was like being born any day now. So Mark Hamill had worn a sign that said, "Don't talk to me, don't talk to me." He's just so focused on the birth of his first son,
Of course.
that Paul Hirsch went to Harrison Ford and said, "Hey, can you do a voiceover, but in a really 1940s narration?"
Right.
And Harrison Ford said, "Okay, what are we getting paid for this?" And Paul said, "Nothing." And Harrison said, "Hold on just a second." So he went over to Gary Kurtz, the producer, and said, "Yeah, we need $10,000 for this."
Oh my God.
So he got $10,000, and Harrison gave $5,000 to Paul Hirsch.
He split it.
All
Wow.
right. Do you want to see and hear this trailer?
Luke Skywalker and Han Solo rescued the princess, destroyed the Death Star, but their story didn't end there. Now, the creators of the biggest smash hit of all time bring you the next episode in the Star Wars saga, The Empire Strikes Back.
It wasn't until a couple of years ago that I learned that was Harrison Ford
Really?
doing that narration.
It sounds like him.
It doesn't sound anything like him because he's doing that very 1940s radio voiceover.
But it's Harrison Ford.
Luke
I don't know.
Skywalker and Han Solo. It doesn't sound anything like him. Even in the theater, it didn't sound anything like him. Well, we also hosted a panel at LostCon Convention in 2019 where we were able to show some of Paul Hirsch's work.
Yeah.
And he was able to dissect the scenes that he'd worked on.
That's on our YouTube channel. So make sure
Yeah.
you check that out.
Yeah, he was so instrumental into my editing style because he did the Paul Hirsch turns when you would cut on the...
Oh. On a turn.
Yeah, you saw that in the Empire trailer. You saw that in a lot of the other movies he had edited. The whole turn.
So he on a turn.
On a turn,
cut.
he would cut, like
Yeah.
cut and cut and cut. All these characters turning to the camera.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's that motion.
Yeah, just that frenetic style. Boom, 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 boom.
Well, Courtney is very excited because Paul Hirsch is her birthday twin.
That is right.
Yeah.
And you know what? We think we should give Courtney a little birthday song. What do you think?
Sure thing.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Cha cha cha.
Happy birthday
to you. Courtney. Happy birthday, dear Courtney. Happy birthday to you. Woo!
Also want to say, hey, Teresa. Nice to see you. We'll be seeing her very soon.
We'll be seeing her
in
soon.
person.
Going to be seeing the Turkells and Joey Pittman on Life Day.
Yep.
More on that coming up.
Yay.
So happy birthday to Courtney Turkell, co-host of the Neverland Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Things we want to share. Things we want to share. Things we want to share.
All right, Skywalkers, for things we want to share, we want to remind you that we are going to be at LostCon Convention in Los Angeles on Friday, November 24th, and we will be hosting the Pop Culture Trivia Challenge Strikes Back game show with lots and lots of prizes. So make sure to come on Friday, November 24th at 8 p.m. at the LAX Marriott. We'll be in Pacific Coast 3, that room, and we'll have lots of fun.
As if you can tell by this picture we're showing on YouTube, the questions will range from Nicolas Cage's Superman to the Monkees to Indiana Jones to the Peanuts to Super Friends. It'll be all over the place, and there's so much pop culture fun to be had.
Mhm.
This was really hard putting this together because pop culture goes back how many decades?
Oh, yeah, and what do you pick and
What do
choose?
you pick? And you got to know your audience. That's the key thing.
And the questions we put together and the PowerPoint as well, like it only touches the surface. And of course, when we do the live show, it will be questions that'll be picked from the audience. So we won't even get to all of the stuff that we've done.
Yeah.
But we'll be putting this out at different other conventions as well.
Yeah. And if you were lucky enough to join us last night for the virtual Cantina's watch along for the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, we previewed a couple of questions.
Yeah.
And judging by the people in the chat, they said it was really fun.
Yeah. Hey,
Really?
do you want to preview a
Okay.
question right now?
Okay.
Okay. Let's do it. Okay, the chat, I want you guys be on your toes. Be on your toes. Let's see if you can think of this.
All right, let's go with this category, bad movie descriptions.
Okay.
So we will give you a bad movie description, and you tell us what movie we are referring to.
Yes.
All right. Everyone tries the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Oh, what movie is this? Okay.
Go back to the comments
Let's see
and
if we've got enough comments here. Everyone try. I don't even know what this
okay,
is.
we'll go to another question.
Okay.
And at Frozen, Courtney says, "No, not quite."
That's where my mind went, but
Yeah, think Ice Bucket. Think
is it live action?
it's live action.
Okay. Think an ice bucket.
All right. Think of the ice bucket has what in it? Ice cubes? So go there. What is the
Oh.
question Skywalker's Academy is saying? So once again, it is everyone tries the Ice Bucket Challenge.
What movie is that describing? It's a really long movie
Mhm.
that came out in the 90s.
Right.
Actually, Teresa should really get this one.
All right, go on and keep on guessing about that one, but we'll give you another one, okay?
Okay.
A teenage girl has an obsession with dwarves and dreams of killing her obnoxious neighbor. All right.
Oh, wait. Courtney got the first one.
Titanic. Everyone tries the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Glenn got it too. Oh, but they tried it, but not because they wanted to. Nice. All right. Perfect, you guys.
All right. Well, can you guess this one? A teenage girl has an obsession with dwarves and dreams of killing her obnoxious neighbor. So guess on that one. Well, let's give another one, okay? Which one do you like? Go maybe number 11?
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, wait.
Skywalker's Academy comes in with Snow White, and that would be the obvious choice, but not it. Not it. Think 2 years later, this film was released after Snow White in 37. Okay, so this movie we're describing was released in 1939.
A teenage girl has an obsession with dwarfs and dreams of killing her obnoxious neighbor.
She also has an obsession with rainbows and sepia tones.
Okay. I think you might have given it away.
All right, read number 11.
Okay. The number 11. Okay, we're giving you this description. Guy on drugs wins the war by throwing a frisbee.
All right, well, Courtney and Glenn have guessed Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
A teenage girl has an obsession with dwarves and dreams of killing her obnoxious neighbor.
Wow. Somewhere over the rainbow.
All right, so we'll end with this last one here. Guy on drugs wins the war by throwing a frisbee.
This is live action. We'll just say that right now.
All right.
Glenn has it. Glenn got it. Captain America wins the war by throwing a frisbee.
Nice.
Awesome. Good job, Glenn.
All right, so that's the kind of fun you're gonna have at LostCon this coming November the 24th, which is a Friday at 8 p.m. at the LAX Marriott, which means you can fly in, have fun at the game show, fly back out again if you're coming from out of town.
Yes.
All right, next up, this Friday, November 17th, the official Life Day, we're going to be at Disneyland
That's
celebrating this momentous holiday. And we got to credit Sean Crosby for putting this together for the last couple of years. Does a great job. We take pictures, we sing songs.
We do a, what is that called? A procession.
Yeah, up to the Millennium Falcon for a big group picture. Hopefully, Disney has gotten the memo and put Chewbacca in a red robe.
I hope so. It's right there.
Someone's gotta. All right, we can bring our own red robe
Uh-huh.
and just give it to Chewie. Chewie, just put this on, but just for the picture, would you? For the last couple of years, he has not worn a red robe. They're making action figures and merchandising with Chewbacca in a red robe. Just put your walk around Chewie.
They even have the plush of Chewie that they've sold at Disneyland in the red robe. Well, they're gonna have new food this time. This year they're gonna have new food. They're gonna have new merchandise at Galaxy's Edge. So we are excited. We're gonna try it out.
And it's gonna be rainy that day.
A little,
well,
percentage of rain.
Well, it went up to 52%.
Remember, we talked about this, the Wish umbrella.
Yeah, so I might not be too much makeup Luke.
Yes. Well, we're gonna be there a lot of the day too. So
So this is a picture of, speaking of too much makeup Luke, this is from 2019 when we had our little Life Day orb that we had made. And then 2020 was non-existent.
Yep.
And 2021, here we are.
Yay!
And then 2022, we were at Disney World.
That's right.
Celebrating Life Day with our Floridian Skywalkers.
Yeah.
So we'll be there in the late afternoon. And the festivities begin at 6:30. All right. So with that, we have got one more thing to share. Next week, we're going to be focusing on the new Disney film, Wish.
Yes.
We are so excited about this. We saw a screening of it. We got a lot of merchandise from it. And we went to a press junket. Got so much to share from this movie. So we're very, very excited to talk about it.
Yes. And we'll be sharing a lot more than just our review of the film. We also got to visit Walt's office on the Disney Studios lot. It was an incredible space. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be just sharing all that we got to experience, because Wish is a love letter to 100 years of Disney animated films. And you can see it in every frame of that film. But we will talk about that next week.
Yeah, and the film will be coming out on Wednesday, the 22nd.
Yeah.
Just in time for Thanksgiving.
Yay.
So if the tryptophan doesn't make you fall asleep, hit the theater, go see Wish.
Go see Wish, and then go see The Marvels again, because holy cow.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. Well, speaking of The Marvels, let's talk to our good friend Paul Warren. Is it Paul, or is it Brie Larson that's going to be on the show? I don't know. Those Skrulls are very shape-shifting. We don't. It could be Kevin Feige. We don't know. But we think it's probably our good friend Paul Warren.
They're here.
The Marvels, rated PG-13.
Uh-oh. Monica, you gotta fly.
No.
Black girl magic.
The Marvels is here, and Marvel, as we all know and love it, is back. This 33rd film in the MCU goes higher, further, and faster than ever. We are so excited about this film that we invited a special guest to help review and break it down.
Creature performer Paul Warren is back to give us his thoughts and share stories of playing a shape-shifting Skrull in The Marvels.
Hey, Paul!
Hello. It's good to be back again.
Good to have you back. Now, it's great to have actors back on the show after the SAG and AFTRA strike has ended.
Right.
But before we go into the Marvels, how's it been going for you?
Yeah.
With all the strike business?
Well, it's pretty much the same as it's been in America. I mean, we're not SAG actors, you see, so we weren't part of the strike, but obviously we support it over here in the UK. So yeah, it's been difficult because, well, 90% of the film productions in the UK are American, Disney, Marvel, all that sort of stuff. So it's affected the industry a lot. So yeah, it's been difficult, but finally they've come to some agreement, and hope we can get back to work soon.
It's gonna take a while for
Yeah.
everything to ramp up.
All the cogs and the wheels to start moving
That's
again.
right.
Yeah, and
That's
the
right.
writers just went back in September, so they need to write and do the pre-production. Then the actors come in. So so take it easy take the rest of the year off.
Well, yeah, that's it. I haven't been doing much for this year, but yeah, I think I'll enjoy Christmas and then hopefully something will come in. We'll see.
2 years ago, you played a Skrull in the Marvels.
Yes, it's hard to remember, but it was quite a while ago. Yes.
So then you shot this in 2021, and were you involved in the reshoots, the 4 weeks of reshoots they just did?
Yes, I did. I went back for the research. Well, initially I was called by David White, who was the makeup effects supervisor. Now, David did Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor: The Dark World, so he's well known to the Marvel people, and they got him back for the Marvels. Now he got in contact with me and said, would I like to go in and reprise and wear the same makeup for the character that I wore in Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a guy called Toothless who was in the prison in Guardians. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to come back and do it. And he said, like a little moment, we'll put you in a scene, and it'll be a cool thing to see you back. I was like, yeah, great, let's do it. So I went in and we filmed the scene, and it was actually part of the dance number. Do you remember the dance number in this movie?
on the planet Aladna.
Well, that was it. He said to me, can you sing and can you dance? And I was like, no. But put me in a makeup and I could be a monster. It's like, I've got good movement, but I'm not a dancer. There's dancers that, as you saw in the movie, that all those wonderful dancers. But the scene actually went on for at least a couple more minutes, and it was cut quite a bit. So hopefully there'll be some kind of deleted scene, because the camera was a one shot with the cameraman on a wire and going around, and he went round everybody, and then he stops on Toothless, and Toothless interacts with Captain Marvel, and then the camera guy is on a wire, and he ends up going up in the sky. You see the shot in the trailer. Actually, there's a big wide air shot where you can see all the dancers and everybody, and so the cameraman's up in the air on the wire. And it was a wonderful, wonderful, very expensive shot, but hopefully it turns up at some point. So Toothless got cut.
Oh, so it was officially Toothless. Your character made the
Guardians.
transition from Guardians to Captain Marvel.
Man,
that's right. And as I was leaving, and I'd worked on it for about 2 weeks doing this dance number, and I was saying goodbye to David, and I said, "Thank you very much, David. Thanks for having me, and thanks for asking me to come back. It's been amazing." And he went, "You're coming back next month, aren't you?" I said, "What for?" He said, "Skrull. Do you want to be a Skrull?" I was like, yeah, I want to be a Skrull. So I came back about a month later as a Skrull.
Now, was this back in 2021, or was this for the reshoots?
This was for 2021 and for the reshoots.
Oh,
I came back
nice.
twice. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
For the reshoots, did you do more of the Aladna dance number and the Skrull?
No, it was just Skrull stuff.
Just Skrull stuff.
From what I can tell watching the movie, it was a lot of the running around, when the destruction's going on and the Skrulls all running and falling and all that kind of stuff. That was a lot of the reshoots that we were doing, a lot of the destruction. Whereas on the first part, in the main shoot, it was on the spaceship. For me personally, it was getting on the spaceship and being on the spaceship with Carol and Monica and Miss Marvel.
Wow. So you were one of the Skrulls who escaped asphyxiation on that doomed planet.
That's right.
All right, so you survived.
Yeah. There's quite a nice shot of the camera coming with me just sitting on the ground looking very depressed. So if you watch it again, I'm the one that's sitting there as the camera's sort of zooming in on it. So that was quite cool.
Now, did they give you that direction, or did they just tell everyone, just run because the whole planet is being doomed and everyone had to figure out their own little bit?
It's hard to remember now. A lot of it was, I think we were just running backwards and forwards, falling over, doing falls, that kind of stuff. There was a small group of us, Group A Skrulls and stuntmen. And between us, we were used to just do, tripping, falling, that kind of stuff. And I'm guessing from looking at the film, when you see the overhead shots, a lot of it is, they've taken the performance and put it into the shot. It wasn't like a live
Right.
thing on the set.
Mm-hmm.
It was a separate thing with blue screens, and then they've put it all together marvelously how they do it. But it was a lot of fun.
Is it really cool to like see that put together after you know all the little bits and pieces that you've done?
Yeah, it was great. It was quite distracting. I need to see the film again because working on it, I spent most of it just kind of looking out for people I knew or looking out for my bits and other people's bits and going, oh, look, there's John. And oh, yeah, that was the day we did this. Now, for the reshoots in the UK, we had a heat wave and it was one of the hottest we've had in many, many years. It was 40 degrees and we're all in these silicone makeups and the reshoots were in the sun. They needed the sun to be out. So we were literally getting cooked all day. It was pretty brutal.
Wait a minute, hold on. You consider 40 degrees to be a heat wave?
Celsius.
Oh, Celsius.
Yeah.
Yeah, Celsius, which is what I'm not sure what it is in Fahrenheit, but
I think that's 90 to 100 somewhere in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the silicone pieces are obviously rubber. So you can imagine what that's like. It gets hot. It starts burning your head, because it's heating up the rubber and it's scalding. So we got lots of shade and fans and water and all kinds of stuff. I mean, my trick was getting wet towels and just having them on my head and then taking them off for the shot.
Yeah. Hey, having worked in creature effects and the silicone and foam rubber pieces, when those get wet, they trap the water, the sweat in. Mm-hmm. So you can pretty much take off the prosthetic and just wring it out and see all the sweat.
Oh, that's how they used to do it with foam. That was the foam latex. Now they use silicone, which is like a rubber, so nothing does get out. So the downside of that is performers now, especially the Skrulls that sweated a lot, the sweat gets trapped under the rubber, so they have to make a hole and release it. It's a bit gross, but so you'd see. Yeah, you'd see a lot of Skrulls, being leaked, and then sort of
Sounds like when you're playing an instrument, like I played the French horn, and you every couple minutes you had to dump out,
drain your head.
Yeah,
right.
drain the
Right.
the.
Whereas in the old days with the foam, the old monster makeups they used to have, they still use foam on a lot of things, but silicone's become a lot more widely used. But with the foam, when I started out 15 years ago with the use foam, it soaks up the sweat. So that's when
you could wring it out. Do you find the silicone being a little heavier on your face than the foam?
Yeah, it's heavier, and also it adapts to the weather, like I was saying. So if it's hot, it burns. Oof. If it's cold, it's freezing. It's like having an ice cold piece of slab of rubber on your head. But it looks great. That's the thing, though, because it looks like skin. So for monsters and aliens where they want it to have like a humanoid kind of skin look, they use silicone now.
Yeah.
Now, how long does it take you to get like in that makeup each day?
The Skrull was about 3 hours.
Wow.
3 to 4 hours.
So it was all prosthetic. It wasn't any digital makeup.
No, it was all prosthetic. They had different groups. So I was in Group A, and then they had a Group B, C, and D. And as it goes further back, each makeup is a lot less to where the far background Skrulls would be balaclavas with green faces. So if you got pretty close on them. I mean, in fact, I think there might be a couple of shots. I need to watch it again. But there were a couple of balaclava people that ended up at the front. You know what people are like; they want to get to the camera. So I think I saw a couple, unless they've been digitally changed.
Yeah.
What's a balaclava?
Oh, just a
hood?
How can I explain it? Yeah, like a headpiece with a cutout.
Okay.
Like you pull it over your head. People wear them in the winter, and you have the face cut out, and it covers up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Planet of the Apes. You see all the hero apes have the prosthetics, but the ones in the back have got like these Don Post masks.
Right.
So,
right.
It's a budget cutting thing, but as long as they're keeping the extras and not digitizing them, then we're all good.
Oh, tell me about it. That might be the next thing that'll be a problem in the industry, but we'll discuss that when it happens.
Well, hopefully the strike will put an end to having AI replace actors and background actors as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is not the first Marvel character you played. Like you said, you were in Thor: The Dark World, and you were Toothless in Guardians of the Galaxy, and you were the visual effects double for Skinny Steve Rogers in Captain America: The First Avenger.
Wow.
Well, I was one of them. The main guy was Leander. Leander was the main Skinny Steve double, but I was the initial pre-production Skinny Steve. So I helped him develop the visual effects. I mean, I say help them. They basically told me what to do, and Chris Townsend, the visual effects guy, developed it with his team. But I was used as the body, yes, yeah,
Wow.
and in the recruitment scene when you see him for the first time in the recruitment scene. But the rest of it's Leander to give fair credit.
Okay.
Now, have you ever created like backstories to connect all these characters? We have Toothless in Guardians of the Gal and Captain Marvel, and maybe Skinny Steve is a Skrull.
maybe. You know,
you gotta create your own fan fiction there, Paul.
Right, I haven't really thought about it, but that's something to think about. Yeah, so it's about three or four characters, and also did the X-Men First Class as well. So I don't know if that really counts as that was like
it does now.
Right, it does. You're right. Right, yeah.
You're on the right podcast here talking about this.
Yeah.
Wow.
What were you in X-Men?
It was I was body double in the young Eric, you know, in the concentration camp.
Yeah.
Bill Milner. They needed an adult for some of the scenes. There's a scene where the stuff's all in the Kevin Bacon's making all the stuff in the room clatter, and you know when he crushes the filing cabinet in that scene, and they just needed an adult to put in front of, because that was actually practical. All of that stuff Matthew Vaughn had actually done. All the stuff that's in the room swinging around and bashing against the perspex was real. So they put me in front of that, which was interesting.
Now, the Marvels just came out last weekend here in America, and I know films have different release patterns all over the world. Is it out yet in England?
Yes, it came out Thursday.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, so last week. So I think it was the same day.
Same
okay.
day, yeah.
Oh, great.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's get into our thoughts on the Marvels. Do you have any initial reactions, Paul? I know, how many times have you seen it?
Well, I've only seen it once.
Okay.
We had a cast and crew screening, which was great. So I got to see it early last week. Yeah, do you know what? I really need to see it again. So it would be more interesting for me to hear what you guys think about it, really.
Okay. All right.
Well, will do.
Yeah.
We have thoughts.
Okay.
Yes, because our job was to watch it and review it. So, yeah, Richard, do you want to share your first thoughts?
Sure. I got to start by saying I love this film. I love this film so much. And I was worried after the last few entries from the MCU being Quantumania and Secret Invasion and Loki Season 2 didn't really move the needle. But the Marvels brings the MCU out of that slump. All together now, higher, further, and faster.
Okay.
Together.
Yes. Now, for me, the MCU, the hook was their special brand of humor, and Marvel's brand of humor is back in a huge, huge way. After we lost Tony Stark and his wit and sarcasm, humor kind of fell by the wayside. She-Hulk brought that humor back, and that's come really the closest. But now we get Kamala Khan. She's like saving the Marvel humor brand. Of course, Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel.
Yes. Played by Iman Vellani.
Yes, brilliantly. She is such a joy to watch, and her humor is so genuine. She is that 16-year-old, and everything that comes out of her mouth, I believe. And she is like the eyes and consciousness of the audience. She's fangirling all over Captain Marvel, just like we're
just like I do.
Boying or fangirling all over Marvel. She is us, but yet now she's in the movie. And I think that's a great step and a great, I don't want to call it a plot device, because she's not a plot device, but it's a
character trait.
Yeah, it's a great character trait, and I don't think we've ever seen this in a movie like this before, where someone is us, but yet in the movie. Going to Avenger Con in the Miss Marvel series, like, we've all been like, oh, we've been there. She is us right now. So I think this film can really connect to a lot of fans in a big, big way. Now, after the first hurdle of getting the story straight in your head regarding the motivation of the villain Dar-Ben, the movie glides along at a great pace for the duration of its very short runtime of an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And to date, this is the shortest MCU film so far.
Which is fine. Like I
Yeah.
didn't lose anything.
I thought it was
because of
perfect.
that.
Yeah, and I think this short runtime has to do with not being burdened so much with having to know the backstory of the whole MCU. Now, if you've seen WandaVision and Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel, that really helps, but you can't walk into a sequel blind. You can't walk into a sequel not knowing the other backstory. You've got to know a little bit about it, but this doesn't really heavily rely on the MCU. Like, you couldn't walk into Endgame cold,
No.
because you'd be totally lost.
I think what was good about it is you could go in after just seeing Captain Marvel 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think.
definitely.
I mean, it's nice to know everything else about it, but if someone was to go in cold just watching Captain Marvel and then the Marvels, I think that would be enough for them to totally get what's going on.
Right. I think you can enjoy it even a little more if you have seen like the Ms. Marvel series.
Oh, yeah.
And at least those couple episodes
Definitely.
of WandaVision that really deal with Tiona Paris's character, Monica Rambeau. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think knowing that gives it a little bit of a backstory, but the characters are easily and very well laid out that you don't need to know all of that. But it's like seeing the Star Wars films and yet having the little one-shot comics fill in the gaps. Like, if you know it, you know it, great.
Right.
But if you don't, it's still not going to impede your enjoyment of the film.
Yeah.
So I've got more to say, but Sarah, you go on and I'll tag off of you.
Okay. Well, my first thought coming out of this film was, what a fun film. For one thing, you have these three women, which are just amazing to see, and I love the three shot of them at various points during the film. The film even opens with the Marvel logo with all the women superheroes in it, and I almost teared up. I was like, oh my God.
What do you mean, almost?
Yeah, well, I was tearing up. It was amazing, like, just seeing that. And also, it was fun because they have these kooky scenes, which for Marvel Comics, they're not afraid to go crazy. You have the flerkittens scene with them grabbing all the people and putting them in their multiverse stomachs, and to the theme of memory from Cats, which my mom was like, that's the only show tune my mom would sing around the house. So it was just really funny. And then you have that the funny planet where everyone sings.
Yeah, Aladna.
That's
a funny name.
And I thought that was hilarious. Like, they could only understand you if you sang. And so when Captain Marvel's talking to the prince and Kamala Khan's like, how can he understand you? She's like, oh, he's bilingual. That was so funny. That was a funny moment.
So many laugh out loud moments in this film.
Yes. Oh, that was so fun.
The Aladna stuff was actually from the comics as well. It's a very, very small. I think it's only like a couple of pages, isn't it, in one of the comics there that they've turned into a whole scene. But I remember on set they were talking about that and they've shown us the bits and pieces from it. So it's an actual place. You know?
Oh, cool.
Normally, a scene like that would be considered way too silly, but it sets the tone for this film.
Oh, yeah.
And the film is silly. It's silly and funny.
Very
and
silly.
Great.
Yeah.
And great because of that. Like, Secret Invasion versus this.
Oh.
I mean, anytime. Let's watch this again. Like, I want to see it again.
Right.
I think, like you, Paul, I'd like to see it again because, getting the plot in your head, I think that was the confusing part of this film, because they chose to reveal Dar-Ben, the villain's motivations behind her actions, as a revelation towards the end of the film. And I feel like we couldn't get into her character or mindset or understand her motivations sooner. So we couldn't wrap our heads around the entire plot until that had been revealed. And so I feel like if they had revealed that a little sooner, and I understood why they dribbed and drabbed that out, because it also was tied into the fact that Captain Marvel was the annihilator to that society. And like she and Monica Rambeau had to like understand each other towards the end of the film. Like, they wanted to save that moment where they understood each other for later in the film. But I just feel like it didn't do us any favors in terms of the villain.
Earlier, I was saying how easily this film is understandable with an asterisk.
Yes.
The Dar-Ben character, and we'll go into this in just a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, I couldn't really grasp what her motivation was. And if you had just seen Captain Marvel,
Right.
you would kind of have an idea of where it was going. But being 4 years ago, and I know we can watch it on Disney Plus whenever, you still have to connect a few dots to get to the Marvels.
Right.
So yeah, it wasn't until the end that we knew the motivations of Dar-Ben, and even the whole body power switching scene in the beginning where they're all switching powers when they're using the powers at the same time. They didn't really
Freaky Friday
explain,
aspect.
yeah, the Freaky Friday sequence of the film. They didn't really explain that until the end of that sequence. Like, oh, okay, now I get it. I kind of wish they had done the Spielberg-esque thing of giving you that exposition during the scene. Because sometimes Spielberg will stop a scene to explain what's going on, and sometimes that helps. And as fun as it was to watch, I'm thinking, wait, but why is this happening?
Right.
And you had kind of had a bigger understanding, so it didn't stop your enjoyment.
Exactly.
You could still have fun with it and go along with it, but I would have liked to have known a little bit about why this was happening at the beginning of the sequence.
Yeah.
Well, I quite like the fact that it was so confusing. But then when they get together and they start practicing, that's when you work out how they can do it, what works, when their powers stop working, or there's a point, isn't there, where they can get to a certain point in their power where if they pull back a bit, they don't teleport. I thought that was quite good, but yeah, maybe it was a bit long, but when it was revealed, I thought it was very satisfying.
Oh yeah,
and it was fun. I loved that scene when they were working together, trying to figure out
My favourite part.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved
cool.
it. I could have watched the whole film. Well, it was the whole film doing that. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, when they were in the ship and they had that the 80s montage sequence when they're all jump roping and having fun.
That's right. Yeah,
I was
great.
hoping that those little elements would come back into play. Like they're playing jump rope. Okay, what's that got to do with anything? But later on, if that jump rope technique came back into conquering Dar-Ben, that would have been perfect.
That would have been neat. Oh my.
Now, one other thing I want to touch upon is the box office of the Marvels.
Okay.
And I feel like the clickbait videos and the articles about how this was going to flop before it even came out, and not having the stars being able to promote the film really hurt the big weekend. Especially, and I'm going to point to all of those clickbait videos that said back in July, oh, the Marvels is going to bomb. Well, give it a chance, would you? And I think more people are just used to reading headlines and going, okay, that's it. I don't want to see this because I already see that it's a bad film because it's going to flop. It's not fair to do to a film that you haven't seen yet or given a chance. And I know there were analysts and statistics to prove why this is only going to hit so much. And well, they were right, but I think they created their own destiny. And I think if you put Iman Vellani out there promoting the Marvels, you would have added another 100 million to the weekend box office right there.
Well, she did the day after
the strike ended. Yeah,
she did show up at a screening. They did a special fan screening of the Marvels in LA, and she showed up. Laura Karpman, the composer, showed up, and so did the director.
Yeah, but if we had her out there and even Brie Larson to counter all of the bad press it was getting, I think that would have helped out the box office. And I believe fans will come around to this movie.
Yeah, I think there's also we're in a very strange time right now where there's a group of people where their agenda is they don't care if it's good or bad. Their agenda is to do clickbait videos. It's to get the numbers. You see it in the Star Wars fandom, don't you? Where there's these people that do this to get the clicks, to get the money, to make the money. So they'll say whatever to create a stir, and there's people that will lap it up. So I don't know. It's not something I enjoy, but it's a very different world we live in now, isn't it? When it comes to being a fan of any kind of franchise, you've got so many alternate forces in play trying to derail everything that's coming out.
Very true.
I don't know. I don't understand it really, but
well, it's like you said, it all comes down to getting those clicks and the viewers, and
that's all it is.
I found myself clicking on something like, oh, what is this? I'll click on it. It's like, oh, it got me.
And you know the people that are doing it, they don't believe a word they're saying.
Oh no,
of course they don't. Of course they don't. But
the headline will say one thing, but the article will say something else.
Totally, yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, well, you hooked
and they get
me
us.
in.
They get us. Yeah. I need to do less of that. Less clickbait. Less clickbait clicking. That's what I need to do.
If anything, we just need to go see that movie and put our money where our mouth is.
Yeah, just
I
like
guess.
That's it.
we've
That's all
got
that matters at the end of the day, isn't it?
we got
Yeah.
friends who will go to see a movie umpteen times just to
Right.
increase that box office.
Yeah.
Right. Good for them.
Yeah, and after all this time of these filmmakers putting so much into these films, and now to have one person try to derail all that.
But also there is you know what people are terming Marvel fatigue at the moment. Even as a fan of someone that works on these movies, you know, obviously I love working on them. I work on them, but as a fan, I'm feeling a little bit. How many movies is it now? 30 something films.
33.
33rd Marvel MCU film.
Right.
33.
I mean, I'll keep watching them because I'm a fan. I've been since I was a little kid, so it's good stuff. But it's difficult for them to keep it going. I mean, there is going to be ups and it's like the comic books, really, isn't it? When you look back on it, there are lulls and there are highs and there are lows, and I think that's what the film universe is going to be, up and down for many years.
Yeah, let's talk about that superhero fatigue a little bit. So Paul, you feel like, are you a little superhero fatigued out?
As a fan, yeah, a little bit, and not just with Marvel, DC, all of it in general, really. I mean, I don't think I even got round to there's a new Aquaman coming out and Shazam 2 and all these kind of stuff and the Flash. I just had no. But then again, it might be age as well. Getting older now to the point where my interests are changing a little bit. I've still got a love for it, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, for me, of course, it does exist because you have to come prepared to a superhero film knowing the immense backstory of these universes. And just saying that brings me fatigue. Watching Loki 2 was it brought fatigue because I had to really go back into, okay, what multiverses is what now? And I don't feel... I'm very educated on the DC universe and the Marvel universe, but seeing a film that's not as silly or fun as the Marvels, I feel like I've got to do so much homework to get to that level. Now, seeing a movie like Aquaman 2, I've got no interest whatsoever because the first one was just so full of exposition that I just fell out of the movie after Arthur had gone to be Aquaman, and now now he's underwater, and you have all this. The rest was just heavy exposition. So, and I just don't feel like I'm going to a movie to be entertained. This was not entertaining, so I've got zero interest in seeing Aquaman 2.
Yeah.
Now, and I also think the multiverses really hurt the superhero MCU universe because nothing is now at stake. Losing a beloved character doesn't really matter because they'll be back in a Disney Plus series or in another film in another universe. So I feel like they've taken away all the emotional stakes.
Yeah, they did the same in the comics as well, didn't they? And it's it got to a point where it's a mess. But then I suppose you've got the a way then of resetting a lot of things. What would be interesting to me in say 20 years, 30 years from now, the younger generations are starting to watch Marvel films, and at that point they're like 150 Marvel films. What do they do? Do they go back and start at the very first one and then go, or do they just, or is there going to be, these are the best ones that you watch? Maybe like the James Bond films. I'm not sure.
Oh.
Well, I know
that's a very good question.
During the pandemic, a lot of people were like, okay, I got time.
Yeah.
I can now
Watch
get into the MCU.
Yeah. Thank God Endgame came out in 2019.
Yeah.
Is all I could say. Like,
Right.
wow.
Right. Because we're all caught up, but a new generation, they have to start from the very start.
Yeah. We're all caught up, and
interesting.
we have that history of seeing these films for the first time and getting into the MCU as it kind of got into itself. So I feel like I still love superhero movies, but when it gets complicated, I think that's when I feel a little fatigue. Like when the stories get too complicated to fit together. So if ever I feel that, I just listened to the soundtrack to Rogers the Musical, which is the musical that came out at DCA that went through
Right.
Steve Rogers' story in 30 minutes. And the whole thing, that musical brings me back to the simpler MCU times when we had a bunch of fun origin stories of like 3 characters that just, like kind of culminated in that Avengers film, and it was just so simple and just beautiful.
Right.
But so that's what I do. I kind of reset myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you want to do it right, you have to go back to 1986's Howard the Duck. So when you see him in Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah, I saw that at the cinema, that film.
Oh,
when it originally came out.
I saw it 3 times that opening weekend.
Loved it, absolutely loved it. I know it gets a bad rap, but I came out as a kid and I was just like, what was that? What'd you say? It was 86?
Yeah, 86 over here in America.
Yeah, so I would have been, probably putting about 87 here. So yeah, what was I? 12, 13, something like that. 13 years old.
Oh,
Loved
that's
it.
a good age, yeah. For that
There was
movie.
actually a big furore here in the UK where they were trying to ban it because of the scene in the sauna, where you see like a naked lady, the boobs.
Yes.
And it was all over the tabloid newspapers. Don't take your kids to go and see this movie, Howard the Duck, it's pornography,
And so of course that
So
got
it made
more
us wanna go
kids
and
to
see
be
it.
in
I was
the
gonna say,
film.
yeah. It's like, oh, there's naked ducks. I'm all over this.
Yeah, so we were there, opening weekend. What's this all about? But it was great.
Now, we've each weighed in on superhero fatigue. Let's now hear from James Gunn.
Okay.
He had this to say in Rolling Stone magazine. He says, I think there is such a thing as superhero fatigue. I think it doesn't have anything to do with the superheroes. It has to do with the kind of stories being told. And if you lose your eye on the ball, which is character, we love Superman, we love Batman, we love Iron Man, because they're these incredible characters that we have in our hearts. And if it becomes just a bunch of nonsense on screen, it really gets boring. And I think he hit the nail right in the head there. Back when we had just these smaller films of just Superman, just Batman, just Iron Man, we really focused in on the hero, the one person, and their highs and lows as a character. But now there's just so much noise happening. There's so many characters to keep track of, and I think that is it right there. Where it's not superhero fatigue; it's the multiverse and team up of more than 3 heroes in a film.
Right.
I know the Marvels is a team up, but they do it very well. But when you have 100 characters behind you, it's like, ugh. Where do you go from there?
I mean, what he's basically saying is story and story matters. And I thought what was very interesting in the point in Marvel was when they did Winter Soldier, and it wasn't. I wouldn't say that was a superhero movie. You would say it was a spy film. Right,
Yeah.
It's a lot more influenced by espionage and that kind of stuff, and I thought that was very interesting. And they're still kind of doing it a little bit, but I think Marvel should be doing more types of films rather than a superhero movie. It's this type of film with superheroes in it,
Yeah. And I mean the Marvels really works. I mean, there's such strong characters in there. Kamala Khan herself and her family, like you can really
identify
with them.
Yeah, they were really good.
Exactly.
They were really good.
And I really love these series where the story can play out within 6 to 10 to 12 episodes. And I really like that storytelling method, as opposed to trying to cram something into an hour and 45 or 2.5 hours.
Well, like you were saying earlier about Miss Marvel, that she was the fan and she was very excited to see her thing. Now, that was a very fine line to be able to juggle that, wasn't it? Because it could have become very annoying very quickly. You know, within the first 10 seconds, you could be, oh, this girl's annoying me. But I think it was perfectly balanced, really well done. And that's probably the highlight and the key of the film, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about our highlights. In fact, one of them comes from Kamala Khan herself when they get to the musical planet. What is that again?
Aladna?
Aladna, thank you. It's like Aladdin, but Aladna.
Yeah.
Okay, when they get to Aladna, and like within 2 seconds of everyone starting to sing and dance as they're being taken to the throne room, you see Kamala Khan in like the next shot going, oh, dancing around. Like she's like into it. She's like a kid. She's just getting into it.
Yeah.
I just loved that so much.
I think I loved her character so much because she's a teen character and there's no angst.
Yeah?
There's no angst that brings her character down. And every time you see a teen in a movie, they're just so they're so weighted down by such teen angst.
Mm-hmm.
And she just sees the positivity in everything. She adapts. She's having fun with this planet.
It's a lot like us.
Yeah. And,
Right.
and why go through life just trying to find the negativity, finding the issues,
Yeah.
just to find the
She was very
positivity.
good. Because wasn't she? She was a big Marvel fan before, wasn't
Captain
she?
Marvel.
Didn't she dress up as Miss Marvel as a Halloween costume or something?
Yeah, she entered a Captain Marvel costume contest at the convention that she went to, FanCon or
Right.
MarvelCon.
I mean, it mirrors exactly the character, exactly, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah.
she's perfect, absolutely perfect.
It's so cute.
And she was very nice on set as well, I can say. She was really, really nice.
Tell us about her.
Yeah. Well, we were on the ship with her for about a week, and when we did those scenes, it was before the reshoots, and it was before Miss Marvel came out. So I don't think we even knew Miss Marvel was a thing. TV. I think we knew that they were making a show, or they were going to make a show. So when we came back for the reshoots, Miss Marvel had just come out. So, you know, there was obviously a lot of people saying to her, well done, congratulations. And she was very, very sweet and very nice to everybody, and, you know, deserves all this success that she's having. But yeah, she was great. And she's just as bubbly on set as she is in the movie.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
She is that person.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. When we were at D23 Expo, the three women came out on stage, Tiona Paris, Brie Larson, and Iman Vellani, and they had such cute, like, interactions and chemistry together. Was that the same way on the ship? Like, did you see them interact at all?
Yeah. Super nice. I mean, you know, we were sat there. There was the group of us, about 10 of us sat there on this ship, and our leader, the King Skrull, Gary, the actor behind the makeup was the dad from Billy Elliot. He was great. He was also in the Gangs of New York, and you've seen him in so many things. But obviously, he was behind Skrull makeup, you know, every day. And he was our leader, and he was obviously keeping all the morale high. And but if we got too jokey, it'd be like, come on, guys, this is serious. You're refugees, you know. Come on, let's. So sometimes if we were having a bit of fun on set between takes, you know, he'd want to get us back to. No, come on.
The dower you just lost your homes. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about all that sweat that's gathering underneath your makeup.
Yeah. Exactly. Gary Lewis, that's it, Gary Lewis. And he was great. And so obviously Brie was there and Gary, and it was awesome. They were all really great. It was a great atmosphere, and I think it comes across in the movie, you know, the fun people were having.
What you're saying is between takes, Brie Larson actually smiled.
Oh, she was a lot of fun. Lots of fun. You know, I think she gets a bit of a hard rap, and the sort of press that people give her, that she's this, you know, stone-faced, serious person, is complete opposite. You know, she was such a joy, and everybody had such great fun. I mean, I even read something ridiculous the other day. Somebody was saying, oh, there was tension on set and she didn't get on with co-stars, and this co-star didn't like this. Nonsense. All lies. Everyone's there doing a job. Everyone's working hard, but there's no, like, on-set drama and that. Everyone's just having fun but being serious and working hard at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
Job.
I say that just because in her roles like Carol Danvers, or her role in chemistry and lessons in chemistry, she's always playing this very serious character. And
I see. Yes.
These characters don't smile, so it's the character. Right. It's not her. And we saw her at a press conference for Captain Marvel, and she was very bubbly and very happy, but yet very focused and serious.
Right.
So what was the one thing that people said about that press conference? Oh, she never smiled. It's like, well, when she's talking about serious stuff, give her the latitude to not smile.
Exactly. And I think she feels like that burden of, she wants to bring women to the fore. She's actually creating and producing her own shows that are doing that. And we were both at the Endgame press conference, where I believe, you know, people were asking journalists, you know, questions. So you'd pick someone out of the audience, and there was a moment when there was too many men being picked, and she actually stood up and said, how about that woman over there? Like she like wanted a female journalist to ask a question.
Right.
So it was, you know,
see,
you have to get, you know, put yourself
great.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah. And like we were talking earlier, it's a lot of these people that clicks and agendas, isn't it, really? They just want to make up stories, you know. Oh, she advocates for women's rights, so she's a bad person. It's ridiculous.
Right. It's like someone has to.
And I'm sure all this misogyny is happening online. maybe I'm just staying away from that. I'm not on
Yeah.
Twitter, so I don't see any of that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just can't get my
Good.
head around
Stay
the fact
away.
that in 2023, guys are still doing that, putting women, strong women down. I just can't get my head around that. Why?
That's because you're a good
Yeah,
person.
I don't understand. I don't know. Maybe it was always going on, and now everybody's got a voice that you can actually see it. You know,
Yeah.
whereas before, unless you bumped into somebody in the street, you wouldn't know. But now it's so prevalent that you go online and it's just instantly hit you in the face with all of this, hatred. It's very upsetting, I think. And also working on these films, the amount of ridiculous stories that you read about stuff and actually sort of being there over 15, 16 years now. None of it's true. None of it's true.
Yeah.
One question I get a lot is, who's the worst person you ever met? And do you know what? I cannot even think of anybody. I cannot think of a time I've been on a set and somebody's behaved badly where I've gone, oh, that actor's the worst. It's all very, very professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if someone's behaving badly, maybe there's a reason for that. We all have our personal
Right.
stuff to deal with, so give the actors, they're people too, right?
Right, but then again, I might not have been lucky enough to be on a Christian Bale set, or
Yeah,
or,
but
anyone else's had a rant.
Going back to that Christian Bale rant that was recorded on Terminator, I heard from people who were there that the cinematographer that stepped in Christian Bale's eye line did it on purpose, just to get a rise out of Christian Bale, just because that cinematographer.
He was moving the lamps around while the shot was running and he was acting.
Yeah,
he was going in and adjusting the lights and all this, and he's just like, he's like. So I kind of agree with Christian Bale on that one. Listening back to it after being in the industry, you kind of go, yeah, why is he walking into the shot? Why can't he wait till they've said cut and then adjust the lights?
Right.
Why is he underneath the table while they're acting? Now I think it was an emotional scene. He has to cry.
Yeah,
he's talking about Sarah Connor, whatever. He just lost his. I mean, he went over the top, didn't he? But.
Yeah, but we don't always hear the other side of the story, and having heard that cinematographer can be very antagonizing on set, that he did it on purpose.
But they made up. They're
that.
friends. It's all good.
Like paparazzi getting in celebrities' faces just to get that one shot of them crying or being very saddened or angry.
Yeah.
They just want that one shot in the shot they're creating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to see some drama on set. I'd love it.
Yeah. Well,
I haven't been so lucky. It's all been a little bit sort of, everyone does the job and then goes home. There's no like, stars blowing up. I'd love it.
Well, that needs to be a new MCU villain, the paparazzi.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Talking about villains.
Yes.
Talking about villains, yes. A good segue into Dar-Ben. Now, I know without seeing 2019's Captain Marvel, you might be, like we said earlier, lost in the motivations of Dar-Ben. So let's clarify her character, because it wasn't until I did a little reading up on her that I fully understood her motivation and where she was coming from, and is she actually a villain? Now, Zara Ashton, who played Dar-Ben, I think did an amazing job. She did a really, really good job. I think maybe she's had some coaching from her husband, Tom Hiddleston, who plays Loki.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know that until last week. I didn't know that was the case.
Yeah. We saw something earlier, like yesterday, that it said, "Oh, she and Tom Hiddleston are married." What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't pay attention to that.
I saw this on Nerdist.com, and I thought this really sums up Dar-Ben. It says, in the MCU, Marvel gender swapped Dar-Ben, who was a male in the comics. We learn in the Marvels, Dar-Ben was part of the Kree military when Carol Danvers, in an early act as Captain Marvel, destroyed the Supreme Intelligence on Hala, which controlled life on that planet. She actually witnessed Carol doing this and nearly lost her life. This act plunged Hala into the decades-long civil war that devastated the planet and caused the Kree to name Carol the Annihilator. In the film, Dar-Ben blames Carol for the fracturing of her planet, and it plunges into environmental disaster. Dar-Ben begins siphoning natural resources from worlds Carol has a connection to in order to restore Hala, and also gets revenge on her in the process.
Yeah.
Now, I wish this was like in like the opening
crawl.
Now the Annihilator stuff.
Yes.
This was brought up in this film. It hasn't been in mentioned in any other movie, right? It was just from the comics.
Yes.
And this is the first mention of it in this movie.
As far as I know, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
okay.
all of Carol's doing was after Captain Marvel.
Right.
So
right, it was in that downtime right, between those other films. She was off doing what she was doing while they were fighting Thanos. She was off doing this. Is that right?
Right. Well, she came back at the end of Endgame, to help defeat Thanos. But before that, like why she wasn't around during the Avengers and during
after she was annihilating, she came back.
Yeah, and during Civil War, she wasn't around because she was, like basically being a superhero in space and making sure and then trying to also, I guess, bring Hala back to. Because Hala was, what is it? It's an environmental disaster. So she was trying to fix Hala, kind of fix her mistake.
They're losing air, aren't they? Is that
yeah.
Right?
Losing air, their son died.
Yes.
All this stuff, yeah.
And all because of what Carol had done previously.
Which, okay, so I'm sorry, this was funny. When Dar-Ben goes to the planet with all the Skrulls and sucks the air out, it was like, oh my gosh, that's like Spaceballs.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So where they sucked up all the air out of the planet.
Yeah. Sarah watched all these Skrulls just dying, and she's laughing and laughing.
Oh, what? Come on.
Yeah, sorry,
Paul. My brothers and sisters.
I'm like, oh, where are the trees going to suck up off the ground and into the into the big vacuum cleaner. Okay.
So knowing this, you can see like, well, is Dar-Ben a villain? And she is, because she's going to the umpteenth degree of getting back at Carol.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Anakin Skywalker, who goes above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to evil because of what was done to him, and he's just taking revenge on everything. That's kind of what Dar-Ben is doing. She's protecting her people.
Right.
Or very, very similar, I thought, to talking to Christian Bale, very similar to Christian Bale's character in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
I felt that was motivation-wise, not the same performance, but it reminded me of that anyway. That kind of, character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I really liked this character after the film, when we had gotten a lot of the exposition, and having read that article from thenerdist.com, I can understand her character more, and the more I understand, the more I appreciate her as a villain.
Yeah.
She's not at the Thanos level, but she's way above Kang. So she's like right by Loki.
Yeah. I think the problem that they've got having that kind of character is another Kree character. So it's very, very much like
the guy
who was Lee
from
Pace
Captain
in
Marvel? Oh, right, Ronan the Accuser.
Ronan. They seemed very similar. Didn't they have the same weapon as
yes,
well?
they had the same weapon.
Was that his?
Annihilator or something?
No, what did the Cosmorod as
Cosmorod
as Kamala Khan named it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So they were very similar, I thought, as when you compare them as villains. I felt, another Kree character. It's kind of, I would have liked to have seen something different, but
you know what? You bring up a good point. When I first saw that she was a Kree, I thought, there's more backstory that we have to know, and I don't really remember what is up with the Kree. But as the film went along, she became more of a character, so you didn't really have to fall back on your Kree knowledge, because really between the Krees and the Skrulls and their war and their peace treaties and all of that, I was getting a little confused with that.
What I remember from the Kree is actually in Guardians of the Galaxy, because Ronan the Accuser I think he led the Kree in that war against Nova.
Yeah, that's when you see him for the first time.
Right, right. That's when you see him. So they're just like basically against everyone, kind of trying to imperialism. They're trying to take over the galaxy.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I didn't get into Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
It was just way too much background on the whole Kree Skrull war.
Okay.
Right. I did actually watch that, and I found it quite difficult to start with, but towards the end, I was really enjoying it. Really got into it. Found it a lot of fun. So if you haven't seen it all, go through it and go.
We did watch it all, and I kind of hope the MCU brings back Emilia Clarke into another role, because she
they
didn't reach her
misused her.
MCU potential
No.
in Secret
Yeah,
Invasion.
it was a tricky one, wasn't it? It was for TV. I don't know if it was originally a movie and then they turned it into a TV series. I'm not too sure. That's what I heard. It was originally
yes,
going to
I think
be.
you're correct. It was going to be a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it might have even been the original Captain Marvel 2 before they changed it to the Marvels. That's what I heard anyway, so I'm not too sure. But yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. But it is I wouldn't say it's everybody's cup of tea, is it?
No. A lot of people's, yeah.
Yeah, we could have done with more
Richard
Avengers.
didn't like it.
Yeah. Well, every week we love to watch the new Marvel series, but Secret Invasion was like,
It's kind of like a chore.
We'll watch Lego Masters first, then we'll watch Secret Invasion.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, when you were on set, did you hear any rumblings about the post-credit scene with the X-Men?
No. We only, on all these films, it's always within the context, especially as a creature performer. Whenever I'm brought in, it's normally on the Marvels. It was quite a long time, but normally it's about 2 weeks, a couple of weeks here and there, where I'll do a scene as a monster, and I'm in and I'm out. So I only get to see the scenes that I'm shooting, and the same with the Marvels. I only saw the Skrull stuff. So all of the stuff we did was completely out of context. So actually seeing the movie and see where we fit into it was really interesting. Because we didn't have a clue. They're like, right, you're running onto the spaceship. Your planet's being blown up. That's it. Run faster. That's it. Go and get in the ship. And we're like, oh. So we really didn't have any context of really where it plays in the film. So yeah, it was great to see it.
I thought maybe it heard like Kevin Feige walking by and saying something about and the Beast and.
Oh right. Do you know that sort of stuff? They like even on the Star Wars films, it's so top secret that only a few people know, really, don't they? On a need to know basis, at the top know about these things until they actually come out. I think the majority of people that work on these films, unless you're there in that scene, like the Rogue One Darth Vader scene, only the people that worked on it that day knew about it.
Right.
No one else who worked on the film, they might have heard like, oh, Darth Vader's in the film or whatever, but yeah.
And some of these,
they're very, very good.
Some of these screenings, sometimes they'll take out the mid-credit or post-credit scene just so no one spoils it.
Yeah.
Right.
But we saw the Marvels only 3 days before it came out, so it was right there with Monica coming back to this other multiverse.
Right.
And we see the big X door in the background.
Yeah.
And we see the Beast.
I completely missed the X door. I mean, I saw Beast and went and saw its X door.
Right.
I completely, because I'm looking at her costume going, what costume's that?
Yeah.
Can't quite work it. So I didn't even see the door until, someone mentioned that all that stuff was there. But,
I'm with you, Paul. I didn't see that either. Yeah, so what a cool scene this was, though. And Beast,
very cool.
Explains that Monica was found floating in space and she was rescued by someone named Binary. So I had to look this up later, but Maria Rambeau in this universe is dressed like Binary, like a costume.
And Binary is another
a photon, Captain Marvel. It's all
the comics, right? Yeah, right. Now, is this universe that they're in? Is that the same timeline? What was the movie? Doctor Strange
and the Multiverse of Madness.
Sam Raimi, right?
I don't know. It wasn't.
Because she was in that as well, wasn't she? Monica's mom was in that.
You're right.
Timeline.
No, that's a different universe then, because she was the Captain Marvel in that universe.
She was right.
Yeah.
Right. So this is another. Right,
this is different. This is
Binary.
Binary.
That's what I mean. It's like, okay, now what multiverse?
Yeah.
And as much as I loved seeing the Beast and I loved hearing that was Kelsey Grammer reprising the role, I kind of thought, another multiverse.
And they've also done a CG remake on him, haven't they? Digital maker. So he's not in the prosthetics like he was in the Bryan Singer movies, which I thought didn't look very good in those movies when he was just blue face with just the blue thing. But in this movie, he looks like Beast from the comics.
Okay.
Yeah, there's kind of give
in
and
this
take
in
there.
the Marvels.
Yeah.
Did you like it? Because as a CG character, or did you think it was a bit? ropey. What did you think?
I thought it was fine, but I
It
think
was
Richard
fine,
has
but
an
I
opinion.
kind of would have liked to have seen the
makeup,
the prosthetics. It's like being a big
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes fan. Do you like seeing the prosthetic apes, which don't the mouths don't really work perfectly, but
Right,
yet
I get you.
it's physical. It's and for me nostalgic, and seeing the beast in CGI, I kind of thought.
Do you know what? I'm completely with you. No, I don't know why I'm saying this. This is crazy. This is what I do for a living. Is makeup.
Yes, Paul.
I know.
Reel it in.
but I don't know why. But for some reason, I'm not a fan of the Beast makeup in those earlier movies. But he looked like the Beast to me. So I thought on this rare occasion, I think the CGI worked.
Okay, so
it's got like the little teeth poking up and
it's your honest opinion, which is good. But for me, having worked in creature effects, I love physical creature effects makeup.
Yeah, me too, big time. But yeah, but if you could do that as a makeup, which is very, I think the Beast makeup that they did in First Class was great, where he looks more Beast-like with who played Beast in that? The young guy from Holt.
Nicholas Holt.
Nicholas Holt.
Now they actually gave him, when he turns into Beast, he had prosthetic makeup in that, and I think that looked fantastic. I think it's just the Kelsey Grammer he's got too much of a human blue face for my liking,
Yeah, and I agree. It's not perfect, but it's physical, and that's what I really like.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
I get you.
If they had asked Kelsey Grammer, so do you feel like being in the makeup chair for another 5 hours? He would have said, I'm out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? I'll go back to Frasier.
Or they said,
third reboot.
They said to him, we just need your voice for this one. All you have to do is go in the ADR booth. You just have to do one line.
Done.
I'm in. We'll give you millions of dollars.
Well, so let's just talk about the consequences of this scene. Now, I was super excited to see the X-Men, and at this point,
and we did. We should note that we did see the X-Men.
Yes.
Integrated in Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was like an extra universe, and this is a different universe as well, a multiverse kind of a thing. However, seeing the Beast, it's one of those original characters that we've seen in some of the original X-Men films, which were my intro into these characters. Like, I never saw the comics. So to me, those films are very nostalgic, and so to see and hear some icons from them in this new MCU is really great. And Kevin Feige has gone on the record and confirmed that Marvel is very carefully planning the incorporation of the X-Men into the MCU. So I think he's going to tease it out, kind of like they teased out Thanos several films before he actually became a big player. This is what they're going to do with the X-Men until all of a sudden it's like, okay, X-Men is here in the MCU.
That's going to be very exciting, and I think with the Fantastic Four as well.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be, the way they introduced Tom Holland's Spider-Man, I thought was great. And if they can do something along those lines of successful as that, where they can bring the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, but they're more as the comic forms than the movies. I think that'll be fantastic, and I think that will be the next wave when people get excited about Marvel again, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and to see Wolverine in Deadpool 3,
so excited.
That's the cherry on the.
I love Hugh Jackman so much.
Yeah.
Well, to see the two of them,
I love him too.
Who doesn't love Hugh Jackman?
But don't you? I don't know. I kind of feel it's time for a new Wolverine. What do you reckon?
Hugh Jackman.
I think we're ready. For a new.
I have such a
actor to take on
fangirl
the
crush
role.
on him. I can't.
Yeah.
Do you see the new Wolverine being, I don't know, this actor named Paul Warren?
I'm the right size. I'm 5'5", and Wolverine's
he's
5 foot
supposed to be
something,
short.
isn't he? So
yeah.
I haven't got the. Unless they mocap it.
Yeah.
Well, bringing Hugh Jackman back is going to secure another $500 million to the box office.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. That's it. He's a very, very popular character, isn't it? Yeah,
From fangirls alone.
But it'll be interesting to see what they do with these X-Men. I think they'll bring back some of the same actors, but then they'll bring back some new people, and I think they'll change the designs quite a bit and try and make it a little bit more how fans from the comics and the animation, really know them. Because the Bryan Singer films, as much as I do like them, they're very, very grounded in reality. Probably a bit too grounded, It was around that time, wasn't it, where everything had to be ultra realistic and dark.
Right. Right.
It's now we can have a lot more fun with everything.
Yeah, with planets like the musical
Aladna?
planet Aladna. Thank you.
Right,
Yeah.
Aladna.
Well,
I had to learn that song from Aladna. It was in my head for weeks and weeks, but now I'm trying to recall it, and I cannot remember a single line from it.
Now, was that Brie Larson singing when she started to, when Carol Danvers started to sing? It didn't sound like Brie Larson.
It didn't. I don't.
Yeah,
know.
no, I think it's Brie.
Oh, you think?
I think
okay.
it's Brie. Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, obviously they didn't do it on set, but
Right.
I think everybody that sings is actually singing. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think so, because they had the track playing while we were filming on the big speakers, so the track was over, so everybody was miming to it then. But yeah, I haven't heard anything where she's been dubbed over at all or anything.
Well, what makes me really excited now about this whole sequence is knowing that you were there as Toothless.
Yeah, I hope we see that at some point. I mean, they must do it as a deleted scene. It's such a good scene that I think they'll want people to see all of the hard work. So hopefully, if it comes up at some point, I'll let you know. And because I was a bit disappointed, to be fair, I mean, it was nice to play a Skrull, but Toothless was the reason I was there. Really, the Skrull was an extra bonus.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we'll see.
We all get stories about ending up on the editing room floor. So.
I know, story of my life.
Well, as a side note, I was supposed to be in a Super Bowl commercial, which was guaranteed tons of residuals, but I was cut out.
Did you got paid for the initial?
I got paid, and I got paid some
if
residuals.
You're not in it, you don't get residuals. Right.
I was starting to get residuals until they realized, hey, wait a minute, we cut him out.
Okay.
That was really
and my
funny.
agent said, hey, you know what? We ain't giving that money back. It's like, well, you're in charge here.
Yeah.
It's brutal. That's one thing that people don't really prepare you for is the disappointment. The rejection and the disappointment of seeing. I mean, I've been to cast and crew screenings of stuff that I've done in the past, and I've been cut out. I wasn't even in the film. They don't tell you. You just turn up and you go, oh, so I wasn't in that one. Okay.
Yeah, that's why you don't tell friends and family until after you've seen the final cut.
Yeah, that's the first thing you learn. Yeah.
Nice.
We won't go into it. It's too depressing.
Well, let's talk about the final scene of the Marvels, which is when Kamala reveals herself in Kate Bishop's New York apartment and asks her to join the team using the same lines that Nick Fury uses on Iron Man. I'm putting together a team.
Right.
And Kamala tells Kate, I want you on it. And it's so cool because it's mirroring the same scene in Iron Man where Nick Fury is in Iron Man's home. Tony Stark's Malibu home in the dark.
Right.
But Kamala Khan puts a twist on it. She says, please.
Yes!
How cute.
So
How cute was that moment?
Yeah, it's good.
So,
it's very good.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. Well, okay, I'll say my piece first. Richard, you're still reading it, but I just read the in-depth The Reign of Marvel Studios MCU book by Joanna Robinson, Dave Gonzalez, and Gavin Edwards, and that went into crazy detail on how the entirety of the MCU was created, like behind the scenes, behind the stories, the people that are part of the Marvel Studios. And it's interesting to see how it's evolved. And so within that book, I learned that after the original 5 Avengers featured in the first Avengers film, Kevin Feige and his team had plans to make Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Captain Marvel its new main team moving forward into the next big phase of the MCU. But unfortunately, the death of Chadwick Boseman, Sony legal battles for Spider-Man, and Brie Larson's desire to helm her own projects instead of just being on call with Marvel, that kind of squelched those plans. So I feel like this is our new beginning with a new team led by Kamala Khan. And she's kind of the Nick Fury / Iron Man of this new phase moving forward. At least that's what that scene telegraphed to me. And
it's the leader, yeah.
Yeah, and
well,
so
they've sort of telegraphed a couple of other characters already, haven't they? With Ironheart from
Ironheart
Black Panther
and America Chavez from Doctor
Right.
Strange,
right. And there's also going to be Patriot, who there was a kid in the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier who showed up, and also in She-Hulk. Hulk has like a son.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
And so like all those could be part of the team of the Young Avengers. But I just want to say that Kamala Khan as kind of the replacement to Spider-Man really works because her comics had almost the same effect when they first came out on young people as Spider-Man comics did. It like brings that young...
Well, 'cause people could identify with those characters. The readers who were that age could identify with those characters.
And they become new Marvel fans. So I'm just so like jazzed and excited. It like makes me so excited to see Kamala.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, I really want to see the Marvels again and with a regular audience, because we saw it with a press screening, and a lot of people there, they know the character, so they get excited about all these these cameos. But will a general audience know who Kate Bishop is, and why is this important? Why do I care about this? And they kept and Hawkeye came out 2021.
Yeah, I can't see a lot of general audience knowing who she was, seeing that show. I mean, I don't know if it was popular or not, but it didn't seem to be. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Right.
I mean, I watch it all, but there's a lot of people that have just tuned out to all of the TV series, right? I mean, maybe they saw a bit of WandaVision, maybe didn't see all of it. Hardcore fans, obviously watching everything, but the cinema-going Marvel Universe people, I don't think they would have seen that, will they? I don't know.
Well, to be fair, one of those end credits scenes back, like, I think with the Avengers, ended with Thanos, and I had no idea who that was. Like, I had to look it up later, and it didn't affect my enjoyment of that film. I just didn't get the post-credit scene.
But you just knew it was someone in that universe.
Well, I just knew it looked like a villain. And he he turns around and glares at the camera, and you're like, okay.
Well, when Kate Bishop
that's
walks
very interesting
into the room, you can see her with the bow and arrows and all the quills on her back. So maybe some people could equate her with Hawkeye.
Yeah, that's
a
very, very, very interesting point. I think actually, people will do the same sort of thing. They'll go, "Who's this? How do I find out about her?" And then they'll watch the TV show.
Right.
So,
exactly. Or just read up or watch a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Ending explained.
I'm not crazy about the Kate Bishop character because she had so much of that angst, and I don't think they really wrote her with that age range in mind. Maybe they should have had the actress Haley Steinfeld maybe come in and do some polish up on what a character of my age would say, because it felt like it was the heavy hand of writers writing her. Yes.
But it was for a younger actress, and she was a bit older for the dialogue. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and just her motivations,
I know
and her actions.
I know what you're saying.
It just didn't hold true, and so you just couldn't get your head around relating to the story, and all that coming. The point being, if I just knew that it was Kate Bishop going into the Young Avengers, I would have no interest whatsoever. But knowing that Kamala Khan is doing the Nick Fury, I could overlook the Kate Bishop character. That's a very long way of saying wasn't crazy about the character, but knowing, but Kamala Khan she's the Grogu of the MCU now. She's bringing everything together.
I love it.
I mean, I'm really surprised. I mean, I knew she was going to be a hit with people, and people were going to really like her. But I'm really surprised at how much people have taken to her, especially this movie where she's the star of the Marvels, isn't she? She's come out as the star of the Marvels, and well deserved. Good for her. So I'm really looking forward to see what happens in the future.
Yeah.
Oh, she's got a very bright future ahead of her.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So can we rank this film yet in our MCU rankings?
In our favorites, Paul?
We can give it a go. Right, so now I was a big fan of the first Captain Marvel. I really liked it.
I loved it.
I really liked the movie. I don't know why. I can keep watching it, and I just love it. Maybe it's the 90s setting.
Yes.
I was in my early 20s back then, so I've got nostalgic times for the 90s. The music, everything to do with pop culture at the time. So maybe that's why I like it. I think this is better. I think the Marvels is better than the first one. Now, are we putting it? Where is it in all the movies?
Kind of trying to ballpark
of
it.
all 33 films, if you had to narrow down your top 3, does it fall in your top 3?
Top 3: Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Ragnarok. I think are my favourites.
Okay.
But I would put this maybe in with Ant-Man, the Ant-Man series. I'd put both the Captain Marvel films with the first two Ant-Man movies. I think the Marvels is better than the last Ant-Man film.
Yeah. It's a very unfair question to ask.
It's difficult, isn't it? What about yourselves?
Okay, so for me, I would say out of 33 films, it's probably in my top 10, but probably not top 5 right now. But I feel like movies, you kind of have to sit in them a little bit, like let them integrate into your soul to like really decide. Because for me, I think I liked Captain Marvel a little more than this one, just because of that whole fall down, stand up montage like that. It just really spoke to me. So, and this is great. It was great fun. I think you're right. Like the Ant-Man movies were fun, right? The first one.
It seems it feels it's in that kind of. A friend of mine said to me, "So what's it better than?" I went, "Well, there's so many movies. The best thing to do is you tell me a Marvel film, and I'll tell you if it's better than that."
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
So he was like, what was he saying? Thor: The Dark World. I went, better.
Definitely better. Yes.
Ant-Man 1, about the same.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, not as good.
Not as good.
It's that's the way you can really do it at this point, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would say for me, my favorites would be Captain America, Guardians of the Galaxy. I really like Shang-Chi because it was so different.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah.
I really like the Eternals.
Yeah.
And
I'm a fan of the Eternals as well. Yeah. That was another one that got a bit of a kick in, wasn't it? But I think that's a fantastic film.
Yeah.
You just need to give it a chance, I think.
Yeah, because there was there's so many characters to keep track of, and I think that didn't do itself any favors. But I think the Marvels is one of those films. If I had to take a couple of films to a desert island with me,
yes,
and the MCU films, I would definitely take the Marvels because it's fun to watch. Mm-hmm. It's like watching Solo. Solo is a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
And I love the runtime on this. I mean, I hope a lot more Marvel movies are cut down quite a bit because as much as I do love them, 2.5 hours coming up for 3 hours, it's too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
I think this was the perfect length that even people who didn't enjoy it as much can still come out of it and go, well, actually, it was for what it was for that time. It was great. You can't have this kind of film at 2.5 hours. I think it's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did read some of those unfavorable reviews, and I just don't agree with them. I guess that's what we all have our opinions. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it was just a fun film, and I can't recommend this highly enough. And if you're just reading the clickbait articles or seeing the clickbait headlines of the videos, make up your own mind. That's my word.
Definitely worth watching.
Of wisdom to anyone going into this movie.
Yep.
All right, now let's hop franchises to Star Wars. Here we go. Here we go.
Now, my wheelhouse, my bread and butter.
There you go. All right, it had to happen sooner or later that we roll every conversation into Star Wars. Now, you were in The Force Awakens. You were seen as Varmic.
Yep.
The Ralph McQuarrie character in Maz Kanata's castle. You were on our show because you had played the Dowager alien in the Canto Bight scenes in The Last Jedi.
Yep.
And you were holding little Space Gary.
Yep.
That's right.
And you came back to the Star Wars saga in Andor, where you played the four-armed Dr. Quadpaw, who tried valiantly to save Nemec's life.
Poor Nemec.
You did a great job, by the way.
Thank you. Well, it was a little bit more complicated. That I was one of 3 people that were performing Quadpaw.
Oh.
So it was Aidan Cook was underneath the makeup, and either side of him in green suits was myself and Matt Loynes, and we were the arms for Quadpaw. So we were basically standing behind. I was the right arm, and Matthew was the left arm, and Aidan was the top arms. And between us, we came up with the routine that you see the Doctor operating. The whole thing. We rehearsed it for a good couple of weeks.
Wow.
To get to that point, and then they just painted us out the background. So it's a completely practical creature. The only CGI is removing us.
Wow.
Which is
So you were one of the arms or both arms? Both of the lower arms?
I was the right arm, the lower arms. I was the right arm, and Matthew was the left arm, and Aidan was the top two arms. Trying to get us all in sync was quite the mission, but we finally got there in the end, and we're very happy with what they used in the scene. They pretty much used our routine, operating and pulling the thing over and the hands up and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you were there when Cassian comes
came
in with the gun.
After he just
right.
Yeah. Knowing that you only played the one arm and someone else had to play the other arm, there was someone else playing the other arms. It's mind blowing because having worked on films where you have puppeteers with no rehearsal time, you have these puppets just going every different direction.
We were very, very lucky to get rehearsal time. Neil Scanlon, our boss, made sure that we got lots of rehearsal and that they covered it for the. We only shot it for one day. Rehearsed it for a couple of weeks. A few days here, a few days there. But the scene was only shot on one day. So when we got there, he said, "Look, they actually took a day of the schedule just to shoot the quadport stuff."
Wow.
Which was really great. So we were very, very happy because you know what it's like. A lot of these things, you do so much work, and then when you see it, it's like a few seconds on screen, then it's gone.
Yeah.
Whereas this whole stuff was pretty much left intact, which was awesome. And what was really funny was Alex Lawler, who plays Karis, the character who was on the operating table that we're operating on.
Yeah. You mean Nemec?
Karis Nemec, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, Karis Nemec.
Okay, and Alex, who plays the actor, I was looking down, and I've actually worked with Alex before on Ghost Stories. He was the character that was terrorising for the second act of the film in monster makeup, and so I just looked down and went, "Alex," and he went, "Paul." And I went, "All right." So yeah, the last time he saw me, I was this woodland fawn terrorising him in the woods, which is quite good. But he's a very, very good actor. But yeah, for that day, he just had to lie there.
Yeah,
the circle is now complete. First you're terrorizing him, then you're trying to put him back together again.
I was going to ask, was that actually Alex Lothar there on the table? And yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, that was.
And he was great, really patient, because he was literally lying there all day doing nothing.
Wow.
While we just pulled him around and stuck things in him and.
Yeah, I really liked how Quadpaw was very meticulous with sewing up and trying to mend Nemec. Did you have any kind of a medical consultant there saying, "Oh, when you're gonna do this, you need to hold it like this, hold a scalpel like that," or is it just get in there?
No, we had Luke Fisher, who actually sculpted and designed the character. He actually was there in the form of directing us, me, Aidan, and Matt, where he was basically standing in front of us watching the routine, and we were making it up as we went along. There's no medical. I mean, you should look at some of the things. At one point, we get out a pair of tongs and put it in there and open it up, and none of it was. It was just basically what looked good visually. What worked, what we could do, what we could reach, what was an interesting tool, and he kind of directed us from the front, and we just all worked together, a big collaboration to just bring this character to life. And, I think it looks great on screen.
I thought it looked fantastic.
I'm going to watch this scene in a whole new way now.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's CGI or whatever, but yeah, it's the old trick of the arms around the back.
Yeah, it's like Gourmanda from the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Right. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun to do that. So that was a very, very satisfying job, and we're all very proud of the work we did on Andor.
Oh, yeah, as you should, because once again, that was very believable. I'm thinking if I ever get into a sticky situation, I want Dr. Quadpaw at my side.
Right. And there was a lot of people that have actually remarked on the medical procedure that he's actually doing on him, going, "There's no way that would work."
Well, you know what? To the untrained eye, it fooled me.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it just looked good. It looked busy, didn't it? It's like, and there's a syringe, and there's and there's clamps, and there's this, and they're doing this, but yeah, to actually put it together was a headache. But we got there.
Yeah.
So now that you've conquered the MCU and the Star Wars universe, you were Harry Potter's double.
Yeah, a long time ago. I did the Order of the Phoenix. It was the one film where there's no Quidditch in it. So it was the only flying I happened to do was down the River Thames as Daniel's double.
Oh.
There's a scene at the start of the movie where they fly down the river.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I did that sort of stuff. And in interacting with Creature, the house elf, with Gary Oldman, which was a real,
Wow.
he's one of my favourite actors, so that was a real treat for me. But yeah, we started sort of day-to-day body doubling. I was one of three doubles actually. He had three doubles, and there was three stand-ins for all of the actors, and also they had the stunt performers as well. One of which next week actually there's a documentary. David, he ended up getting paralysed on one of the last films.
Oh.
Deathly Hallows Part 1. And Daniel was actually producing the documentary. It's on HBO next week. And it's a whole documentary about his career. He was only young, very, very young when it happened, early 20s, I think.
Wow.
But
what's it called?
Him and The Boy Who Lived.
Oh, wow.
It's called. And I think it will be absolutely fantastic. And, I don't think he'll remember me, but I remember him very fondly in the stunt team who looked after me, because I'm not a stunt performer. But when you actually go on the broomstick, these stunt guys are the ones that strap you in, tell you what's happening, look after you, because you're up on a hydraulic arm, and it's moving around. It's I wouldn't say it's dangerous, but obviously you need
supervision,
safety guys there.
Yeah,
and these guys, including David, they were all there looking after us all. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I think everyone should check it out.
Being a stuntman is the best job in the world. You're constantly being tested, just risking it all. I used to fly. Nothing's like it, man. I've had such a crazy life. Such highs and such lows. But I was able to find light in the darkest of places.
I only started doing it when Daniel was 17, and I just did that one movie.
Okay.
I was 32 at the time, so there's a big difference. But it's the start of my career, and I got to meet a lot of great people that I still see now in the industry and still work with them,
Nice.
which is great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so you've been in the MCU, Star Wars, Harry Potter. What's the next franchise you want to conquer?
Oh man, Lord of the Rings. Should we give that a go?
There you go. I'm sure another movie's coming around in another 10 years.
Well, they're doing the TV series. I didn't work on it, but
Oh.
the season 2 of the Amazon show has
That's
just
right.
been just been shot over here. But yeah, I didn't get to. I'd love to have done something like a goblin or an orc. I think I'd do a good goblin. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think Goblin. Better than an orc. Orcs are dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, are,
Yeah.
are we still talking Lord of the Rings? Because I
Yeah.
know nothing about Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Yeah. You got some
All right,
catching
well,
up.
There's always the DCU universe.
Right. I mean, at this point, I'll work on anything that they ask me to work on. It's I just love doing it. All seriousness aside, it's just such a joy to work on film sets that I just hope it can continue again soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, every once in a while I miss those days, but then I don't miss the 15-hour days.
Ooh, they're
Yeah.
long.
Well, it's like one of those things, which is when I'm not doing it, I'm like, I'd love to work again, and then when you're on it, and I'm in the makeup, and I'm in the like 15, I've done 18-hour days before, and you just go, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life?
Yeah, and out of the 19-hour days, you may work like 30 minutes.
Right,
Wow.
yeah. A lot of it's sitting there in the creature suits and just overheating and waiting and waiting. But then when this is very exciting when stuff like the Marvel comes out and you get to go and see it and you see everybody's hard work.
Yeah,
that's what makes it all worth it.
That's
Absolutely.
what all pays off.
All right, Paul. Well, do you have any cons or appearances coming up that our Skywalkers could know about?
No, I don't. But there was a movie that I was in recently that was released this year called Unwelcome, and it's an Irish goblin horror movie, a home invasion with Irish goblins, and I played one of the goblins, and I was also the creature movement coach on that. And the goblin stuff is fantastic. So if you're up for a bit of horror and something like Gremlins, that kind of thing, and Critters, it's like that. It's called Unwelcome, and you can watch it now. It's on Shudder.
Oh.
The Shudder streaming.
Yes.
And or you can hire it from Amazon and rent it wherever you rent things these days. But yeah, if you want a little monster creature feature, I think Richard, that might be right up your street.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at your Facebook. You have a lot of behind the scenes photos and just you in the goblin makeup. So yeah, I'm very excited about that one. And if it is on Amazon, we're of the thought of of renting movies just
Mm-hmm.
to you vote with your dollars, and you can
Right,
put a
right.
little money back into the pockets of those who produce the
Yeah,
films.
yeah. And even though this was a Warner Brothers movie, it was very much a UK independent made film. It's very low budget, but we put a lot of love into it. And yeah, if you like stuff from the 80s, The Gate and I'd say Critters and Gremlins, it's in that kind of vein.
Oh wow!
And we shot on big sets as well. The sets were large sets, so we looked like we were 3 foot tall.
Oh, fun.
That kind of stuff. There's a lot of false perspective, a lot of like stuff they used in the Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of practical stuff going on, and then they digitized the faces with mocap, digitized faces, but the actual goblins were all practical, running around doing it. So yeah, check it out and let me know what you think.
Put that on the list. Okay, we have Lego Masters and Unbroken. Got it.
There we go.
There you go.
All right, how about social
Lovely.
media?
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
You can reach me at Paul R. Warren at Facebook, Instagram, X, all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
That's the first time I've said X.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Don't like it.
I know, it's weird.
Yeah, just stay off of it. It'll be fine. All right,
Yeah,
Paul.
but thank you very much for asking me again. I really do appreciate it, and it's always nice to speak to you guys.
Well, likewise. Thanks for coming on and sharing all of your fantastic stories about the Marvels and Harry Potter and Quad
very
Paw.
welcome.
Can't wait to see what's next.
Anytime.
And I'm so glad you slid into our DMs.
There you go. It was just to say, hey, hope you like the Marvels. Yeah, it was cool. So it's a nice little treat. So
yeah,
thank you very much.
Absolutely.
All right,
guys.
and you know what they say: higher, further, faster.
Together.
Shout outs, Skywalker shout outs. Which Skywalkers get props from here in Neverland? Who was tweeted out? Shout out. Who was photobombed? Shout out. Who was shared a post? Shout out.
All right, Skywalkers. This is the time every month we give a big shout out to the Skywalking Force because every day you guys help us out and we couldn't do it without you. So we want to thank you so much, Anthony Kakias,
Blessed Cheesemaker,
Bryn McKinnon,
Carl Fox,
Chica Fent,
Christopher Marino,
Courtney Turkel,
happy birthday, Dan Boris,
Darren Irvine,
Dave Kerwin,
Don Glover,
Garrett Sessions,
Glenn Stein,
hey Glenn, Jennifer Cole,
Jeremy and Heather Hunt,
John Liang,
John Zancanaro,
Julie Caruana,
Julie Gildersleeve,
Cato Toby Ryder,
Kelly Turkel,
Laura Bryce,
Leanne Nelson,
Lisa Barry,
Meredith Duckworth,
Michael Corbett,
Michael Nip,
Mike Ward,
Nancy Steinman,
Patrick Pine,
Patty Hammond,
Patty Nazarian,
Peter and Norma Heitman,
Reynold Gobey, eh?
Scott Carmichael,
Scott Hume,
Terry Lee,
Wesley Meecombs,
and
Wynn Patterson.
And all of you in the Skywalking Force this past month, you should have received some mail from us with a fun decal that I created. And we'll be coming up with even more fun things to do and hopefully another party, a little Zoom party that we can all participate in. We love sharing time with you guys.
And how?
All right, and this just in, because this is the shout-out section, we have a review from Courtney Turkel on The Marvels. She says, I loved The Marvels, could have done without Brie Larson singing, but still a great movie.
And according to Paul Warren, that was her singing.
Yeah. Okay.
But that was the point. It's like, okay, just sit back and relax and watch the movie.
Oh, yeah, have fun with it.
It was just so silly, but yeah, that was the one scene that made me go, wait, what's going on?
But then the Flerkins made up for that.
Yeah.
Our whole theater was giggling. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
We got a couple of Flerkins right outside the window here. They patrol the house in the neighborhood.
Yes, they do.
Mm-hmm. Well, that wraps up episode 441 of Skywalking Through Neverland. We want to thank Paul Warren for coming on the show and sharing all of his great stories about being a Skrull. I'm still not convinced if that was Paul. It may have been Kevin Feige, but maybe Brie. I don't know. We tend to think it was Paul Warren. And we want to thank Disney for inviting us to the Marvel screening.
And thank you so much to all of you Skywalkers who tune in, comment, like, share. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're almost 9,000 strong there, so please subscribe and click on the little bell so you get notifications when we go live.
Now, are you interested in knowing what happened every day in Star Wars history? Well, you know what? Come to LostCon November 24th because we are going to be offering some holiday specials.
Yay!
As well as the Skywalking Through Your Fandom interactive notebook.
That's right. And they are available now for those of you who can't make it to LostCon. They are available now at skywalkingthroughneverland.com/book or on Amazon.
Want to give a little plug to my first short film? Duck Duck. Just found these videotapes in my garage. It's on YouTube.
It is on YouTube. Yeah, you don't have to get the video.
No, there's
for
a
this one.
VHS tape.
Wow.
Shamim Dana really wanted this.
Aw, that's so cute.
Look
at that. Wow, that clamshell case brings back memories.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. All right. Well, would you like to support Skywalking Through Neverland and become a member of the Skywalking Force like 40 others? Well, the Skywalking Force has access to bonus content in the form of our Zoom discussions on the latest shows and films. We also do parties, and once a year we send out a fun little mailing to you guys. So this bonus content begins at only $5 a month. You can head to skywalkingforce.com, have a look at the options, and thank you so much to those of you who are part of the Skywalking Force.
Now, we want to thank our sponsor once again, Small World Vacations, for their continued support. Thinking of a trip to a Disney park? Where you can fill out a Get a Quote form at smallworldvacations.com today. Their vacation planning service is free of charge, so check it out and tell them Skywalking Through Neverland sent you.
Now, we are part of the Skywalking Network.
Courtney, take it away. Take it away, Courtney. This is all you.
Where you can also find other great shows like Talking Apes,
The Max Effects Podcast,
The Neverland Clubhouse,
Totally Tell Me Everything,
Star Warsologies,
and the YouTube shows Collectopolis, which 2 episodes just went out for Collectopolis.
And
Today in Star Wars History.
You can find us on social media. We are at Skywalking Pod for Instagram and X and all the things. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search Skywalking Through Neverland. Same with YouTube. Search Skywalking Through Neverland. If you search Skywalking, pretty much our stuff comes up. It's really fun.
Well, it should.
Yeah. And you can email us, share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com. We have been podcasting 10 years. We are still taking fun 10-year anniversary messages, so please send those to share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com. We'll be playing even more on the next episode of Skywalking Through Neverland.
And once again, if you're not watching on YouTube, you're missing like 75% of the show now.
That's right. Yeah, because Richard, you have been doing a bang-up job editing and adding pictures and video. Paul Warren gave us some really cool behind-the-scenes pictures and video that are only exclusive to our YouTube version of this show.
Exactly. So if you're listening, go ahead and go to YouTube.
Yeah.
We'll wait for you. Until now. Now, don't forget to stick around for bloopers and other fun bits that didn't make it into the show. And
always remember
to feed your Florican daily.
Absolutely. Or they'll eat you. And
Neverland on Alderaan. Hey, look at those names to the left. They are part of the Skywalking Force, our Patreon.
Become a producer yourself and check out all the Disney Plus themed bonus content available depending on the level you subscribe.
Become a member of the elite Skywalking Force at skywalkingforce.com.